Nova, he's had his ups and downs with injuries. I know Rick tells us he's fine, but I don't think he's 100%.
He had a right shoulder injury and also a pinched nerve in his neck. Smith has battled through a lot this year. Out on the floor right now. RJ Lewis is back. Scott's three.
They needed that. Without the ball by Kadari Richmond.
Scott. It's good. They're calling it a three by all statistical logic as Thomas lays it in. But that tells you how much effort they play with.
Oh, no, they play. Every coach who played against them, Sean Miller, I remember, every guy comments how hard they play. No better compliment for a coach than for people to say they play really hard.
Scott, a three.
Well, I tell you, he's a sophomore. You got Jackson McAndrew, who's a freshman. So some building blocks after this year for Coach McDermott.
Ejiofor, they've been daring him to take that shot. He drives.
Well, he might have got away with travel right there, Gus.
Pull up jump shot. And
because they turn the water spigot off. They prevent teams with multiple stops from the defensive end, and they get out and run. It makes you know they're starting to hit shots like this.
And Scott
for the Golden Eagles. 10-0 run. 24-9. Number 1 seed, St. Johns in trouble in the first half. Fadeaway, and it's good for.
And push it right back down the teeth of the defense. Get to that left hand across the lane.
Got it in. This time he buries it by as many as 15. Stevie Mitchell deep. Defense tightening up. Marquette getting a little shaky. Another big time. Got to figure something out. Mitchell with the drive. Short. Ejiofor. Rebound number 9.
Missed opportunity right there, guys. Think about how many empty possessions Marquette has had.
Back door, easy, breezy.
Down low, you know bigs are going to be banging down low. It's the Big East tournament. I think you got to give them a little leash.
Scott hits the three and gets the
lead on the defensive end. I have to be just as aggressive when we have the ball, and he's done that the last couple of plays.
That was the second day in a row that we've seen one of the Butler players go tongue out after an impressive play as Aaron.
Look, sometimes it's okay to take a timeout even though you know one's coming, and when you don't have anything going at either end.
And the struggles continue for Pierre Brooks. Now 0 for 5 from downtown. Scott, he's just finding his spot and making the defense pay. 8-0. Kadari Richmond poked it free. Simeon Wilcher had it, gave it up. Zuby Ejiofor floats it in for the win. And the funniest thing, if you watch the clip back of the final seconds of that game, the back and forth affair that it was, Rick Pitino was stoic, except for about 0.5 seconds after Zuby Ejiofor made the bucket, and then he went back to being stoic. He is one of a kind.
There he is. I love. He sounded like me talking to my kids. I'm not going to tell you again. I think I say that.
National championships. I've been to the 7 Final Fours. I've won over 880 games. I've never been asked to be on the Tonight Show until I'm the head coach of St. Johns. And I think it shows what
follow and what has become basically a win and in-game for Marquette in the tournament. It's going to fall off from Telfort in what could be his final collegiate game. Scott, step into the three. Everything's going for the Johnnies.
But the plays like that don't happen if you don't go.
Scott, mid-range jumper good.
6 or taller. That's the best rebounding guard in this conference.
Way too much for Richmond. Got it back. Leo Topless saved the turnover. Richmond skip pass. Scott, step back. Yes, they say foot. Kicks out dangerous. He got to Richmond. He missed it. Offensive board, Lewis. Dangerous pass again, but somehow it finds its target. Scott, foot on the line.
Butler will take it. Brooks, his second three. Scott trying to answer, and he does. Smith on the wing. He'll pull up. Scott the offensive rebound and put back. Aaron Scott against UConn. He's 8 of 13 from the floor, and a turnover by Butler. That's their 11th. Smith the other way. Scott testing out that injured leg. Turnaround, and the leg looks good there. Scott rises on the baseline.
That switch, and that time neither one did, gave up a layup.
Scott, he'll fire off the inbounds and roll it home. Largest lead of the game for St. Johns. Aaron Scott sets the puppies and buries it. Diallo, mishandled, stripped, robbed. Scott, again. Wilshire now steps into a triple. Loose ball, rebounded, St. Johns, new shot clock. Scott that time. Here he comes and jams as
body teams in the Big East. And Trainer only making his 4th start of the season. This is a DePaul squad that is down 3 starters tonight, including point guard Connor Enright, who is out for the remainder of the year.
This time by DePaul, moving the defense a little bit.
Too strong for D'Amico. Leotopoulos up to Richmond. Drop off to Aaron Scott.
Too easy.
For the Red Storm was short.
I would have loved to see Aaron Scott turn the corner and get downhill there.
Another turnover. Numbers. Aaron Scott. Catch. And now it's open floor. Aaron Scott is short. Edge of 4 with the rebound. This has been a total scramble. And now Smith will try to settle it back down. Smith goes over his head. Aaron Scott tries again. Aaron Scott. Richmond with the offensive rebound. A fresh 20. The time, the clock is on their side. Wilshire to Scott. Dagger. In the country in rebounding. Close to 42 per game.
Get that little hook in the lane to edge. A very unselfish kick for a wide open limitation by him. He's the big guy.
Scott, without any hesitation, is confident.
And Dixon drag a big away from the rim.
When Dixon was silent on Sunday in the first half, Poplar was driving the bus for Villanova.
I might say he was more popular that day.
Well done. Scott connects.
How about that? Started a pretty good run. You're playing top of your game. You get some opportunities.
You never know. On that journey to Madison Square Garden, the Big East tournament, you could also do it that way.
That's true. Connecticut did it years ago.
10 on the shot clock. Aaron Scott. Corner tray.
Did it early. Set up by extraordinary defense. The change of the look has puzzled St. Johns.
Scott.
Silencer.
It was.
Great, Scott. Lower left leg. So he must have got banged there, bone on bone or something.
Aaron Scott again.
How about this kid?
They will look at.
Oh no, that's so, he's so good jumping and passing.
Scott! Aaron Scott! And now Dixon is down.
Set now. They read it. There's a little curl and then a bump. Pretty.
To Aaron Scott, who continues a big night.
And they don't cover it.
Donovan Clingan, first round lottery draft pick.
And the thing you get from St. Johns, like we saw last year, was the lob threat. Now, you lose out a little bit on rim protection, but he is able to guard a little bit better on switches on the perimeter.
Pull up jumper deep, and that one is pure. Now coming in the game, Liam McNeely, who's missed 8 straight games. Freshman McDonald's All-American. He's wonderful. Even Rick Pitino commented about how great of a young player he is and will be. Richmond backs his man down. Diarra holding him off. Picked up off the glass and in. He's got 11 points on 3 of 3 shooting from the 3-point line. Richmond, the inbounder. Baseline. And finally,
Pass! The extra! Up and in! Wow!
Sort of missed Tyler trying to talk us out of our money to invest in something silly here.
He's in Toronto with the Knicks.
What a career he had. Made a lot of things easy for a lot of these players. Little matchup now. Must rebound. There you go. Great. Lofty program over these years. Yeah. Incredible. Going back to Al and Frank McGuire as the coach.
Al McGuire is former St.Johns player. That's good.
Rock is your friend now. You really don't need it.
Richmond
Nice
on the prowl. Scott the finish.
10. Jaden Epps trying to take it on 2 Johnnies. That's a turnover, and here come the Red Storm. Top 5 in the country in defensive efficiency. Aaron Scott cashes in and on a mass, and maybe the Hoyas. And what that could mean for an Ed Cooley in year 2. On the other end, Aaron Scott gets St. Johns.
To know better than that. Go up strong. Just went up a little too loose with that ball after Sorber gave it back to him. I'd like to see Sorber put his head down and get to the rim initially.
Scott.
Bam.
That's a big one from downtown. Wilcher. And that sums up the night for St. John's. Aaron's.
You can see that Xavier really wants to get going, but they haven't been able to get the flow. Too much English on it. Putback is good.
Going on the offensive end.
And thrown up from the hip, and yet again, loose ball opportunity. Davon Smith opening for Scott. Locals, and it's 26-10.
Yeah, he's one of the 3 that we talked about earlier that if Seton Hall wanted to try to climb back in this game, he's got to make open shots.
That was the first field goal, Alfonso, in 9 minutes for Seton Hall. And there's a near pilfer by Jenkins. Recovered by Kadari Richmond, who's doing a nice job of distributing, isn't he? That's just a beautiful. Those misses, some of them have been dreadful. Scott for 3.
It's like you're on skates. If you don't have any help, great job by Epps to attack before the help could retreat and get downstairs in that paint.
He had 27 in a win at Syracuse back in December. Leading returning scorer in this league. Scott answers.
Side of really the Northeast, people were appreciating him as much, but you know, now that they're back in the national spotlight, if you will, with Georgetown Ed Cooley, Micah Peavy is that guy.
Lewis getting past Peavy. Lewis all the way.
Oh, wow.
Scott's there.
I thought that should have been a goaltend. Peavy hit the rim.
Aaron Scott, bingo! A 14-2 run. Close to 6 minutes, and Peavy cannot end it. Wow.
Must be something. The floor is tilted the other way, or these baskets at this end.
Aaron Scott. St. John's lead.
Glass. St. John's a great offensive rebounding team, not great defensively.
Smith starting to feel it, but that one's short. Scott the offensive rebound. Now Scott for 3. It's good.
But this is a big one for Villanova in that it's a quad 1 opportunity.
John?
Hey, Andrew. Davon Smith hurt his shoulder. The trainer is taking him back right now to look. No timetable on his return. We are monitoring it closely.
All right, good thing.
What a crossover.
Rickus all the way, but he missed it. Wow. R.J. Lewis wants to push. Lewis bounces to Scott for the finish. We're set up for a good finish. Scott for three.
And he's having a good year.
He was on the seat of his pants when that possession started offensively. Now another steal. Scott dunks it home. Can Xavier make a run on offense? Swain running into three Red Storm now. St. Johns the other way. The lob to Scott. Lewis drawing a crowd. Someone's open. Wiltshire driving. No good. Follow good by Scott. Wiltshire's jumper. And out. Follow again. They've been doing it all night. Conwell, three. In and out. Hunter, offensive rebound. Put back, no good. Lewis with a double-double. That was his 10th rebound.
Should Xavier lose this game, there's going to be two things they look back on.
Uh-oh. Scott jams it home. Scott from the elbow. He's not had the look. Long rebound out to Scott. Xavier just
down low. That is a fabulous look by Pierre Brooks. Kapke finishing it off.
Kapke is giving him a lift off the bench and high percentage shot there.
Cutter down low. And the hook works for Aaron. They fire, nothing doing there. Rebound, put it back up and in. That's it.
21 here as Lewis on the free throw line. Scott with the offensive rebound. That took a very strange bounce. Aaron Scott and one. 12th in KenPom defense efficiency are the Johnnies. Last year, 57th. Rick Pitino said because of that end of the floor now fully coming together, it kept the team from fully breaking out.
Get your motor running offensively sometimes, and you get too quick on the offensive end trying to make steals and that kind of thing, and you lose some of that fundamentally sound defense.
Yeah.
Scott running the curl.
Count it. Back in adjoining Burrow throwing it down.
Well, listen, that happened because, again, it gave him a shoulder advantage. Pinson getting to the rim because he can score the basketball. No one there to box out Mitchell. That's exactly what he does with the two-hand easy one.
Long-range shot from Aaron.
Downhill with the floor is tilted like that. Barry Evans, he is a ridiculous athlete. He gets going up and down, and once he explodes, there's not many people in the country, I would tell you, that can guard that young man.
Second bucket for Evans. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And again, Bulldogs not going away. Another gorgeous feed. How about Ejiofor?
They're giving them all they can handle. Phil Montelli comes from great stop, great play there. Again, knowing they're switching, a veteran.
Overs for Bryant been turned into a half dozen points. Scott makes the trend continue. And
but what you have to do to teams that are not in a league like you are, you have to at some point impose your will, and that usually is going to happen defensively.
First time some nervy plays for the Bulldogs, giving St. John's great looks at another.
You know, even said he thought Seton Hall should have gotten in last year above them, and I thought St. John's was worthy of getting in.
Nice turnaround bucket there for Kayvon Kramer out of the timeout. Coach Pitino, when you asked him, also said he thought Marquette's the best in the league right now, in part, as you see the jumper knocked down by threes per game, 38% normally from beyond the arc. Ejiofor, Scott following up despite.
Rick Pitino wanted to travel, but he doesn't get the call.
I love Haason's energy. Again, a lot of shooters, they don't get to the foul line a lot. They live behind that arc. He is not like that. He will dive on the floor for loose balls as well.
Scott steps back and buries it. Jones! Double-double already for Ejiofor with that rebound.
Hey, that's where I think you really needed the timeout.
Scott. Oh, boy.
And Georgia's able to almost get it. It was ripped away. This three no good. Scott gets it back. And what a possession for Aaron Scott. He was the one who ripped it.
Embry's not a great three-point shooter. It's a bonus.
No, he was just 4 for 17 coming into the day as Scott hits a big shot. Now Demery around a Newell screen. Little floater. No. Wiltshire tracks it down. There's Scott.
Yes.
It's more like it.
Often controls the game.
Well, Blue Kane just picked up his 4th foul, so he's sitting for Georgia. They have 2 players on the bench with 4. Surreal the other. Scott, finally! St. Johns. 20 seconds to go. St. Johns down 4 with the basketball.
You don't need a 3 now. Drive the ball. You don't need a 3.
Scott will attempt it, and he got it. It's a 1-point game with 12.3 to...
A 2-for-9 start for the Who's on this end. Kofi, up fake. Left it short.
Tried to go to the other side of the basket, and instead reversed it back because he saw the defender there.
Aaron Scott knocks down the triple.
Lose contact, and they're right on that border, down 15.
Scott, catch and shoot. He buries the 3.
Just imagination. He's already a champion just playing college basketball. I'm so proud of him.
St. John's leads by 7. Scott connects from the
big guys.
I like the big guys.
I'm a bruiser.
Yeah. You do your best DeAndre Ayton impression in the low post.
Yeah.
Well, what a treat it is to have Hall of Famers like Rick Pitino, Rick
I
Barnes
see.
here. I mean, it's just kind of surreal to be standing this far away from some of the all-time greats in college basketball. Oh, Scott got the low post positioning around Luck. Chukwu from Nigeria, 2 years under Andy Enfield at USC, and with the coaching change, jumped in the transfer portal. Some good size off the bench for Rick Pitino. Richmond finds Scott, rhythm 3 on target. Poplar now at Villanova. O'Meara here with Baylor, among some other changes.
Welcome to college basketball in 2024-25.
All right, St. John's, how did they respond from this Baylor avalanche?
I think you got to, 1, defensively pick up your intensity. Don't give those easy shots to the basket. But 2, offensively execute a little bit better. Be patient and get a good look. They're getting some attempts if they take their time and move the ball just like that. They say the other slogan is the drama in the Bahamas. So.
Oh, yeah. Got plenty of drama all of a sudden. Richmond across the floor. Scott tees up a 3 and hits again. Kadari Richmond not on the floor to start double overtime for St. John's. O'Meara couldn't wrap it in. Rebound Scott.
St. John's with a quick adjustment because before it wasn't on.
Pretty.
That is Donovan Dent at his best.
Shot blocker thought that was going to be a little left-handed jump hook going through the lane. There's the kick out.
Back-to-back triples for the Johnnies. It's Dan surveying. Nolan lost it. They've got numbers. Aaron Scott brings the house down.
Handoff pass to get the 3. This is where St. John's has to show who's going to be the leader going forward on this team to make the right decisions.
Rick Pitino told us he's still searching for it. Aaron Scott got an open look from Lewis. Her husband's team, they were up 16 at one point.
Nice
That's
hands.
a block. Aaron Scott got it. They've gotten open looks, but St. John's is 3 for 15 from 3.
I think they'd make that adjustment and continue to drive it as best they can. Get it to the guys who can drive it, though, is key. Here's one who will drive it.
5 on the shot clock. Up 41-27 on the glass with 2. Richmond. Eyes in the back of his head. And 1 for
Esquera for 3. Oh, why not? It's a 2-point game. The leader, Javi Esquera. Scott running the floor. R.J. Green, a man possessed tonight. Can't put it in off the window. Richmond has been impacting everything.
Kadari Richmond just being the best player on the floor. Controlling pace, getting teammates shots like Scott.
Scott with the rainbow, right on cue.
He might give out to-go boxes, too.
Try him tomorrow morning. As Green doesn't come close. Wiltshire feeds Richmond. St. John's feeling it now. Scott another. Why not? Aaron Scott have a night. Javi Esquera to beat the shot clock. Off the mark. And the rebound to Ruben Prey from Portugal. He just checked in. Nice pass. Richmond threading the needle to Scott.
Adore guarded by Brady Dunlap, who was checked in, and it's popped away. Aaron Scott, clean path, and the deuce.
Got a nice touch as well.
Split the pair at the line. 22-18 St. John's. Low scoring half. Skip pass found its way to Scott. Baseline, nice move, pretty finish.
Skip pass.
Mador, the step through high off the window, contested by Iwajuku. And St. John's takes it back. Will they go 2 for 1 here? It looks like Smith content to back out. Iwajuku skips it to the corner in Wiltshire. Scott stops, pops, and hits.
Tough shot. And Creighton is going to be the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. That's it, right? Just the 4 times in a row. One of the best centers in the country.
Scott a 3. And now St. John's is pouring. Johns. Here's Rivera to finish on the second chance. But Smith, especially kind of a change-up effect at point guard, and the way that he plays was terrific last season at Utah. Another 3.